Okay, so I was literally logging onto my game for a different video when this popped up, so I'm going to go ahead and make a video on this. This is an event that we were kind of expecting to come into the game based on the teaser trailers, and if we take a look at the details, we'll get an idea very quickly on how this works. You can see we have to get these special items and then exchange them right here for tanks like the Y5 T34, the Wi-Fi I always mess it up, Firefly, the Y5 ELC BIS, the P43 Anniversary, which I actually have, Kunstpanzer, which I have too, Churchill 8, I don't have that one, and I'm pretty sure that this is a profile background if I take a look at it. Yeah, it actually looks kind of plain, but hey, it exists. So there's also this thing, and this was in my video the thing we didn't really know about, or at least I didn't know about it. Someone else might have. But my best guess was that this is going to have something in it, and I guess we're going to find that out because I've not actually prepared for this video. I literally just opened up my game and found this. So, we got a smasher in here, and what are the drop chances? Honestly, not too bad. You got a 100% drop chance of a tank. It looks, oh yeah, 100% drop chance for a tank. That's actually really good. This is way better than I was expecting, especially with a smasher being a 4.55% chance. You could get a smasher out of here. I do have a few of the tanks in here, but definitely not the majority of them. And let's look at how much this cost. This was 850 bells, which is relatively expensive, especially compared to all these other things. So yeah, looks very interesting, but of course, we need to talk about how we get these bells in the first place, and I'm assuming if I click on this little eye right here that it's going to tell me this, and I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the store. And let's see, how do I make a request? Okay, bundles with gold. Yep, I knew it had to be something in the store. So if we go to get call bells, it's going to take us to presumably the store, particularly around here. There we go. See, these are normal gold bundles. And look at that, they come with these bells in there. And if I'm not mistaken, that is $100. And okay, sure, you're going to be getting a lot of the kit coins, which are for another event that I talked about previously. 75,000 gold, which is cool, and a fair amount of bells. In fact, that's 661. Except, if we come back to the event here, we can see that that's even more. So this is over $100 to open a single one of these. That is insane. That is actually really insane, and honestly, extremely overpriced. And if I come back to the store, let's look. What was the anniversary? It was like 200 to 300. If we look around in here, yeah, $50 to $80. That is steep. And yeah, sure, you're getting kit coins and you're going to be able to progress through this other event. I don't know what that is. I'll have to come back to that in yet another video. But you'll get kit coins and you'll be going through this event too. But I mean, $100, over $100, sorry, for a chance at one of these tanks. And considering that you can get the AMX 1357, that is meh. Now, don't get me wrong, the AMX 1357 is a great meme tank. It is not a good tank, though. Same with the Steyr WT, at least for me. I mean, that I get HE'd very easily in that. M4FL10, it's kind of just a unique tank. It's not even really all that special, to be honest. Action 10 is pretty good. E75TS is pretty good. You know what? I might as well just go through here. 12NB, not really all that special. WZ1115A, I know it's Droodle's favorite, but I hear it's actually just kind of it's an okay tank. It's not really special. AMX M4 MLE, pretty good tank in tier 10, I believe. Pretty good armor, and I think it got a buff. It was a while ago now, but it did get buffed at one point. Same with the Badger. I think this tank is now considered fairly OP, or at the very least not bad like it used to be. So there are good tanks in here. Moving on, we've got the T95E6. I don't really think about this tank a whole lot. I don't remember it being very good, especially with a hatch like that. I want to say it's, again, more just like a collector's tank and not really one you want to get. OBJ260, absolutely just meh, based on what everyone is saying online. The next tank after that is the prototype. Okay, I have this, and I actually got this for free out of a box once, which was really cool. But beyond that, I would actually say the tank is decent-ish. No armor, as to be expected on a French medium tank. But yeah, I wouldn't say this is like my go-to for tier 9. It's an interesting tank, but it definitely is not the easiest to play. We'll just say that. Moving on to the next tank that I'm not even sure I've ever seen this one before. That might actually be new. TL7120. Pardon me if this has actually come out before and I missed it. I don't know the stats on this thing, so I can't really give an opinion on it. Hit points 2,000. It's a tier 9, so I mean, interesting. It looks like it'd have good armor, but again, I can't really give a full opinion on that because I've neither seen that tank played nor played it myself. WZ, come to think of it, running against these things, I don't think I usually have too big of a problem. However, the upper plate might have some armor. Again, not one that I can really go too deep into. Progetto 46, now that one I have, and I've played a fair amount of it. It's a very fun tank. It's an auto reloader, so, you know, instead of having to reload a whole clip, you reload one shell at a time. Downside, though, is that it can, at times, have troll armor, especially right there around the gun mantlet. It can be very troll, but in general, you're going to get hit. Now, you do have a little bit of HE protection, like on the sides because of your spaced armor, but your back, not so much. Again, a higher skill tank, but if you can master it, it is definitely a fun tank, to say the least. After that, the Emil 1951. Now, honestly, a lot of people like this, and considering it's an Emil, it's pretty good, and I've run against them. Unlike the Tech Tree Emil, however, its faceplate is fairly easy to penetrate. I mean, you can penetrate the Tech Tree one too. Personally, looking at these two, I would say, aside from this one having a higher speed, I would actually say that the Tech Tree one's probably going to be better. But again, I can't give like a full analysis on it because I don't have the tank. AMX CDC, basically the tier 8. Dracula, if I hear that correctly. Basically, no armor. It's very fast. I don't think it can ram really. And overall, I could probably HE these pretty much on the back and the sides with most tanks, and then even some tanks I might even be able to HE the upper plate. It's not very thick, and again, if you're going to play this one, you're going to want to be really high skill player because it's not easy to drive. MXCDC, I don't know, I've lost track. This one, let me, you know what, for the sake of the video and being thorough, AMX CD8 105. Interesting tank, got some decent-ish armor, or at least for a French tank anyway. Overall, I don't really hear too many bad things other than that it might get boring after a while, but honestly, definitely not the worst tank you can get out of this box. Wow, we're halfway through. AMX 50 ton. Sorry, the FCM 50 ton. I have this tank. I think I even got the twister camouflage for it, and I will say it is a very weird and awkward tank. It's very cumbersome to drive. Again, HE is pretty easy, especially on, like, say, the side right here or the back. Overall, this is actually kind of a lousy tank, at least in my personal opinion. It's really big. It's a very big target, and overall, I would say generally, definitely not the best tank that you can be pulling out of here. The Scorpion G. Now, I don't personally have this tank, but I've seen this tank played. I've gone against them. I know that this tank can be very effective in the right hands. The only problem, though, is that you can HE this thing anywhere. In fact, if you have an Emil 1 and you load HE, you can actually, like, one clip clear this tank, and I've done that multiple times in the time that I've played Blitz. But if it's played correctly and not necessarily in the front lines all the time, it can be a very good tank. But again, with how easy it is to HE, it is a very high skill level for this tank. But this tank is a good one so long as you know how to play it. E75TS, great tank. Not a whole lot negative about it other than the lower plate, I suppose, and the face is pretty flat, so it can be penetrated by some APCR and sometimes even just standard rounds. But overall, it's a pretty decent tank. I like it. It's definitely not like the best one out there, but I mean, you're definitely not getting a bad tank when you get this one. It's a heavy. It might even be classified as a super heavy. Not really anywhere that it can be HE, aside maybe from like the highest caliber tank and maybe the back, but I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen that happen. Overall, again, just a good tank. Action 10, this tank is fantastic. I really love the gun on this thing. It shoots so fast, it kind of keeps the enemy from trying to push on you too aggressively. And with your fast reload, it's also great. Armor, is kind of 50-50. At times it's absolutely fantastic, and at other times it just seems like everyone's penetrating you for some reason. Of course, lower plate can be penetrated, but if you can kind of get into a hold down position, your upper plate is pretty strong, and your around your turret is fairly decent, except for like right on your forehead right here. If someone loads APCR, they can sometimes sneak a shell in there, especially on higher caliber tanks. The little hatch here, I get hit there and I hit people there. It's not super reliable to hit, but it is definitely something to be aware of. Spaced armor around the face, which is nice. It can help troll some shots around there. I think spaced armor on the side too. It's a good tank. I don't know if it's the fastest around, but it is a decently fast heavy tank with a very fast gun. After that, we have got the Chimera. Again, another good tank, even though I don't have it. Alpha on this thing is pretty cool. In fact, I'll look here. I think the alpha is sitting somewhere at like 440. That's actually really good. High explosive around 530. So yeah, big chunk of damage, which is actually pretty good. Now, your damage per minute isn't the greatest. I believe the reload time is, if we can find it right around in here, it'll be something, reload time. So it's about 15 seconds to reload. So yeah, high alpha, not a long, a long reload. It can be penetrated in the face a little bit, but though it's fairly troll despite how flat it is. The rest of it, though, upper plate's pretty strong, but it's not the most armored tank. But it does hit like a truck, which is what's so special about this tank. Overall, it's very decent, and especially if you like high alpha, it may be the tank for you. The TS5, I don't have this tank, but I've seen it played kind of like whatever. It's kind of weird looking, and pretty much this whole lower plate here can get shot at. It's actually not very strong. The rest of it is very strong, of course, but it's just such an awkward tank and doesn't really stand out other than the way it looks. I mean, that looks weird if you're going to ask me. After that, we, though, have the T-54E2, and it's missing the shark camo, which is a travesty, but this is the shark. Honestly, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, tier 8 tanks in the entire game. The Action 10 comes close, and a lot of people do actually like the Action 10 better, but this one, when it has the shark cam, I have to show you the shark camouflage because that is really cool. If I come back out into here, there it is. That's what it looks like with the shark camouflage. Honestly, one of the coolest looking tanks, at least in my personal opinion, in tier 8. And not only that, it's one of the best. So you get a tank that looks absolutely amazing, plays absolutely amazing. Looking at it, it is very American in its playstyle. So hold down is the way to go. Your turret is very strong, with the exception of the hatch, of course, that can get hit probably a little bit more frequently than the Action X. But the nice thing about this one is that you'll notice that the hull actually has a bit of a curvature to it. So around here, it's actually bent, so you can actually kind of poke out at angles that aren't necessarily fully hold down. And as long as you don't poke your that track wheel out, you can actually sometimes get a troll ricochet even on the lower plate, which is honestly one of the weaker parts of this tank. Side scraping is, I mean, it exists, but it's not fantastic. Of course, you can be penetrated on the side. Some tanks can HE you here, though it's not a great amount that can. And of course, it definitely has flaws, especially, I mean, if you drive into battle backwards, I mean, you're going to get hit pretty bad. But overall, if you keep this thing in a hold down position, it's going to do you very well. Reload is very nice. I want to say I have it at about 8 seconds. And dealing about, was it like 320 damage per shot? I don't know the exact numbers, but I play this thing enough. It's a really good tank, and it looks really cool, especially with that camouflage. And I clicked on the wrong event. But coming back here, looking at the other tanks, we've got the T-77, another really good tank. I don't have it. At least one of my clanmates has it, and I know they really like it. And it's a very good tank. I would say I would still probably prefer the Shark better even if I had this. But again, you can see you've got that round hull, which could theoretically mean some troll bounces. It is a bigger tank though, and you can get hit in the face, so it's not as well armored, but it does have a clip with 2 shells in it. I want to say they're about like 300 each. In fact, I can actually just take a look here. Oh, I'm sorry, it's actually 380, so almost 400 damage a shot. So you're probably going to deal anywhere from around like 600 to 800 maybe damage in your clip, which is pretty good, and for damage, for clip potential, it's pretty decent. Again, another good tank. AMX 1357, I kind of alluded to this already. It is a meme tank, and that is literally it. It has very fast speed. It has a magazine with 6 shells in it that have, I think it's like a 1 second interclip. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's like 13 seconds to reload. It shoots very fast, but you kind of have to be out in the open, and given that you have like no armor, which is where your fast speed comes from, it can actually get hit pretty bad. Its penetration is pretty laughable, and it's not the most accurate. It's for memes only. Like, I wouldn't ever want this tank for skill. I only got it because it comes out so rarely, and unfortunately you could get unlucky and spend over $100 and get that tank, or maybe lucky depending on if it's the last tank in your collection. Again, this tank, it's got a clip, 3 shells in it this time, basically no armor. I don't know that I've ever tried to play it too much. I'm not a huge fan of like paper thin tanks, aside from like, say, was it the Camelot? I don't remember. It changed the name. But yeah, not really all that special for this tank. After that, we have the M4FL10. This is another auto reloader like the Progetto was, except this one's just kind of boring, to be honest. There's nothing really special about it. Kind of mixes an auto reloading AMX with a M4 Sherman. It's weird. And that's also why it's a hybrid nation. This doesn't exist anywhere, and it's kind of bulky. Doesn't have great armor, and I would say in general is just kind of a lame tank. At least it's unique. Now the FV201A45. We're getting close to the end here. I don't really think about this tank too much. I think it's got like semi-decent armor. It's a tier 7 though, so yeah, that tier tends to be pretty messy. And overall, I would say, from outside looking in, not having played the tank before, just meh. Nothing really special. Maybe the gun's really fast or something. I don't know. Damage per minute, looking at that, is pretty decent. But overall, when it comes to tier 7s, it's probably not the best, but definitely not the worst thing you could be getting. And then finally, we come to the Smasher. This is supposed to get PBR in the next update. Yay, I guess. This thing looks both really weird and evil, and is also evil when you play it. I mean, this thing is just a nightmare to deal with, especially if you're tier 6. I mean, if you're a tier 6 light tank and you get caught in front of these, good luck, because this thing will HE your face off. It's actually kind of ridiculous. I mean, if you haven't heard about the Smasher yet, you will hear about it very soon, or you're hearing about it now, because this thing is an absolute monster in tier 7. The only one worse than this, I would say, is probably the Annihilator, but the Annihilator is kind of a different playstyle altogether. Hands down, this one is one of the most broken tanks in tier 7. Some people even say the most broken. It's a tier 7 KV2 with, I believe, better accuracy, better penetration, and better alpha. I mean, and better armor, too. I mean, this tank is absolutely insane. If I had it, I could literally make a whole video on this, probably ranting about how bad it is. But either way, if you get this, you're very lucky, and you're getting a very, very good tank. And please, please do not abuse this thing like so many people do. I honestly wish I had this tank. I've wanted this tank, but I just don't really feel like shelling out $50 to $100 to get this when its random crates come out. But yeah, very, very good tank, and if you get that and you don't have it already, you're getting a pretty good tank. Now, the last thing I want to do for this event is look at these last few tanks. Churchill, it's a tier 6. I'm not really going to do much with this. Probably got decent armor. This might be a new tank, I guess. Oh, this might actually be a new tank. I thought that this came out before, but either it got PBR or this is a different tank. Stats are on the side, nothing looking too special here other than maybe some decent armor. And then we've got the Kunze-Panzer, and I realize now that this video is going on for a very, very long time. So the Kunze-Panzer, it's okay. It's a medium. Oh, sorry, my mistake. It's a light tank, and overall it's pretty decent for a light tank in tier 7. Again, watch out for smashers. But nothing really negative to say about it, other than that it doesn't have a lot of armor. Again, probably a higher skill cap for that one. P43, this one's okay. I mean, it's very much a P43. I didn't really like it at first. Playing it though, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just a P43. And then the last three here, which I'm kind of going to do as a just real quick here. Y5T34 and apparently the nuclear reactor that goes inside it. I didn't even know that was a separate thing. It's just a hybrid tank. They're not that hard to deal with on the battle. They're okay. Pretty much all of the Y5 tanks are just kind of okay. Again, this one has a nuclear reactor. They look cool, and they're from Blitz's 5th birthday, but beyond that, especially with the Y5, you'll see Bis. I just don't hear good things about this one. It looks kind of ugly and just kind of meh. But hey, they're collector tanks, and they pretty much only come out during Blitz's birthday. So if you really want them, they're here. That looks like this one would be about like $50, and then these two together would be like $80. I'm not sure. It'd be expensive. But there you go. That is the Lost and Found event. And so with that, hope y'all enjoyed. And as always, have fun, good luck, and happy tanking.